Hi friends, welcome to Really Organic. In this video I'm going to show you a strange website with ties to the global elites and their predictions that many countries, including the USA and the UK, will lose upwards of 70% of its populations by 2025. And the reason why they say people are going to be leaving the USA will shock you. So let's get into it. All right, Deagle.com. I found out about this from Richie from Boston and Dabu7. Deagle seems to be a very military-focused website. They have long lists of equipment of owned fighter jets around the world, but they also seem to be interested in population forecasts. Okay, so they've got the list of countries, they've got everything in 2017, but then when you go to their forecast here for 2025, this is the forecast 2025, you can kind of hover over and see the amount of change in the populations. So China's going to go down 2%, India's going to go up 5%. No big changes really, and like Japan 18% down, but look at the United States. They're predicting it's going to drop in population by 70%. That is shocking. They're saying Italy is going to go down 31%. Look, France is going to lose 42% of its people. Canada's going down 26%. Germany's down 65%. But then some places like Algeria is going to go up 7%. South Africa down 17%. Spain down 44%. I want to show you the highest one here, though, is the UK down 78%. Now, this is really strange. Why would suddenly all these populations go down? Well, a year ago, it seemed impossible, right? But now with everything going on in 2020, I'm not surprised that they're saying this, because clearly we are at war and people are trying to reduce the population. Switzerland's going to go down 35%, and they're neutral. So this is very concerning. All right, I found this on Steemit. Deagle, a real intelligence organization for the U.S. government, predicts massive global depopulation of only some countries, 50 to 80% by 2025. All right, this Steemit article says few people know of this website, and even more claim the organization doesn't legitimately exist at all. Despite the overwhelming suppression of its significance, WikiLeaks documents have revealed it was legitimately used as a reference material in a Stratfor report on the technological capabilities of North Korea. According to their own website, Deagle.com, Deagle provides news and intelligence on international military aviation and advanced technologies. Their website has articles dating back to 2003. Little is known about the real owners. Many online researchers have erroneously confused this site with Deagle.com, which is owned by Edwin Deagle. Now, here is a partial list of known Deagle partners and clients according to their own website. The National Security Agency, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, aka NATO, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the Russian Defense Procurement Agency, Stratfor, the World Bank, and the United Nations. Now, if the population decreases weren't disturbing enough already, even more disturbing is the reason why they say people will be leaving and the population of the USA will be decreasing. A statement on Deagle's forecast page. Now, this I don't think you can find on Deagle.com. This is in the archives, and I'll show you where it is in a minute. Okay, this statement was made on October 26, 2014, which apparently claims the population shifts are due to suicide and dislocation, and as sure as they're not a death or satanic cult. Historically, a change in the economic paradigm has resulted in a death toll that is rarely highlighted by mainstream historians. When the transition from rural areas to large cities happened in Europe, many people unable to accept the new paradigm killed themselves. They killed themselves by a psychological factor. This is not mainstream, but it is true. A new crisis joins old, well-known patterns with new ones. We are not a death or satanic cult or arms dealers, as some BS is floating around the internet on this topic. Take into account that the forecast is nothing more than a model, whether flawed or correct, is not God's word or a magic device that allows us to foresee the future. So if you are shocked by the idea that people could leave due to suicide, I was too when I first saw that site, but now seeing what's happening in Victoria, Australia, this is a YouTuber in Victoria. Victoria, Australia is probably one of the most locked down places in the country, and it's gotten very brutal and scary. People being dragged away just for not wearing masks. It's just been very shocking. I'm sure you've heard what's going on there. Let's listen to what she says. This was just a little over a week ago.
Throughout this bullshit pandemic, there's been a total of 8 people in my community that have committed suicide. 8 people. I think I knew one before that, but since this has been, sorry, I'm a bit emotional tonight. There's been 8, and I watched a funeral through a screen because we weren't allowed to go.
People are so disturbed by the extreme lockdowns that they don't want to be here anymore. And I know suicide rates have gone up dramatically in the U.S. too. So this is really disturbing and really scary. So here's the actual note on the archived location in the internet. So we're going to scroll down here. It was this last part that I just read to you, but now we need to read this here because this is such clear information about what the plan was. All right, the key element to understand the process that the USA will enter in the upcoming decade is migration. In the past, especially in the 20th century, the key factor that allowed the USA to rise to its colossus status was immigration, with the benefits of a demographic expansion supporting the credit expansion and the brain drain from the rest of the world benefiting the states. The collapse of the Western financial system will wipe out the standard of living of its population while ending Ponzi schemes such as the stock exchange and the pension funds. The population will be hit so badly by a full array of bubbles and Ponzi schemes that the migration engine will start to work in reverse, accelerating itself due to ripple effects, thus leading to the demise of the states. This unseen situation for the states will develop itself in a cascade pattern with unprecedented and devastating effects for the economy. Jobs offshoring will surely end, with many American corporations relocating overseas, thus becoming foreign corporations. We see a significant part of the American population migrating to Latin America and Asia, while migration to Europe, suffering a similar illness, won't be relevant, i.e., no one's going to want to go to Europe because all of those countries are collapsing too. But now I'm just going to interject and question here, perhaps, if the other form of death they mention is what's going to happen since the borders are closed. Then they say here, nevertheless, the death toll will be horrible. Take into account that the Soviet Union's population was poorer than the Americans nowadays or even then. The ex-Soviets suffered during the following struggle in the 1990s with a significant death toll and the loss of national pride. Might we say twice the pride, double the fall? Nope. The American standard of living is one with the highest, far more than the double of the Soviets, while having added a services economy that will be gone along with the financial system, i.e. we won't be able to get all the services we're used to. No one's going to pick up your trash. When pensioners see their retirement disappear in the front of their eyes and there are no servicing jobs, can you imagine? You can imagine what is going to happen next. At least younger people can migrate. No, they've closed the borders. Never in human history were so many elders among the population. In past centuries, people were lucky to get to their 30s or 40s. The American downfall is set to be far worse than the Soviet Union's one. A confluence of crisis with a devastating result. I mean, can you believe this? They wrote this many years ago telling us what was going to happen. Wow. Okay, the demographic crisis in the former Soviet Union countries has extended for over 2 decades. If we accept that it ended early in this decade, 2010s, the demographic crisis will hit the world in the near future and is projected to last between 3 and 8 decades, more or less, depending on the technological breakthrough. So 30 to 80 years, and environmental issues. Many climate scientists say that the Earth isn't going to support human life in 10 years or less than 10 years anyway. The aftermath is more likely a frozen picture with the population numbers staying the same for a very, very long period of time. The country's forecast population numbers do reflect birth deaths but also migratory movements. Many countries are going to increase their gross population due to immigration while their native population may shrink. The next move will see the civilization being centered in Asia with Russia and China on top. And here is where I already read to you suicide. That is really disturbing, friends. All right, well, I wanted to bring you this information. All the links will be in the description below. I suggest you look it up yourself. So there's still a question about who exactly is behind the site. Is it that guy named Deagle, or is it just some confusion? But it seems like just looking at what this website specializes in, they seem to have ties to some important people. Can you imagine if just some random person decided trying listing all this stuff? I'm sure they'd be contacted by the military. All right, so the elites are trying to remove 70% of the U.S. population, 78% of the UK population, and 50% of a lot of other countries. Even Sweden had a significant decrease. Go on that page and start looking up all the decreases. It's shocking. All right, friends. If you can share this video, that would be helpful. Hopefully, people will wake up and realize there's something much bigger going on than we realize. And if you can subscribe if you haven't, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And also, you can support the channel by shopping through my Amazon links for all my favorite organic stuff in the description below. I don't recommend it unless I love it. Also, you can make a one-time donation or become a patron on my. Also, you can become a patron on my Patreon or make a one-time donation. Links are in the description. I hope you're doing well, friend, here in the end of the world as we know it. Maybe we'll be able to transform it into something even better if all of us who are awake still stick together and shine our light of love as bright as possible, because darkness cannot exist in the presence of light. Peace.